next slide. Perfect. The recording has started.
Yes.
And Sarah's like, it's not working.
Hold on. There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
So just a quick, the purpose of this call is I think a couple of webinars ago, we talked about the website, and one of the requirements for the grant is having cartons, food and beverage cartons on the website. The second requirement is around marketing and communications, and it's a little more fluid. And so we wanted to have this webinar to specifically talk about it and make sure everyone understands, answer any questions. It is more fluid, so it's not sort of like black and white and super strict. There's a lot of room for interpretation, but also opportunity. So we wanted to kind of talk through that. We'll give some examples and go through. And then the last part is really questions, discussion, sharing, very, very open to anything. So this, like, I feel like we don't know what we don't know. Two times ago when we did this, we had never really thought about podcasts because this was like pre-2020, they weren't quite this big of a deal. And someone did a podcast and they were like, does that count? We're like, yes. So, there's no really, we're really open and excited to hear new ideas. So if you want to go to the next slide, Sarah. Okay, so this is there's a lot of copy on this slide, but we're going to go in more detail on the slides that follow. But basically, this just reiterates kind of what I just said. So the second part of the grant requirement is that you have to provide 2 examples of a marketing or communications activity. And that's what we're specifically going to talk about today. So hopefully by the end of this call, you all walk away and you go, okay, I know what else is needed. The other part I wanted to mention is we have not given anyone a submission form yet for that we really, really, really have designed this grant to be as easy as possible. And so you will all be getting, I would say in the next couple of weeks, just what the submission form is. And it is, it's like, I think it'll be a Google Doc. I want to say 2 pages. It's mostly like links to your website to show, like it'll be links, or you could attach documents, PDFs, pictures to show the 2 marketing activities. But again, we do not, if you have to spend an hour on this, that like we have, or God forbid more, we have failed. Our intent is that, the more go is, the time is spent in the education part of it. So the other part is that I think is important is the time of the communication or marketing activity. So for the most part, like, the year is kind of wrapping up. I mean, October just started, but so this is due December 1st, the submission. So we don't really encourage you to get it in early necessarily, unless you feel like you're set with that. But the goal would be to have as many of those activities completed as possible. But if for some reason, I don't know, there's something that you're doing like later this year that would be after December and it hasn't been executed, we would just need to have like a description of the plan or, something so we feel pretty confident it is actually happening. So these are the categories. And like I said, there might come up that a category isn't included. Again, this is where we want to hear from you guys. So the categories are marketing materials, events, advertising, or public service announcements, which is basically the same thing, only you don't have to pay for it or you get a reduced fee. Earned media or like news stories, things like that, social media, and then this other category of just other. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to actually turn it over to Anthony, and we're going to just spend a couple of minutes going through each of those categories. And again, if you have questions, feel free. We, I think in almost all of them tried to include some examples of past ones, which I think is good and bad because the examples are, it's okay, great, but I don't want people to feel like it's this rigid and this means what you have to do, because it 100% does not. All right. So if there aren't any questions, Anthony, take it away.
Thank you, Heather, and hello, everyone. Like Heather was saying, when it comes to marketing materials, there are several different items that you can do. You can do direct mail, bill stuffers, bin stickers, refrigerator magnets, brochures, flyers, and so many more. You see, we have a couple of examples here. Um, and the main thing when it comes to these marketing materials is to try to keep them really simple and easy to read. When most people get these mailers or these flyers, they really only spend a couple of seconds looking at them before they either throw them on the counter or even throw them away. So they should really be eye-catching as well. But the key thing is to try to utilize images that clearly show what items are accepted and what items are not accepted. Um, it doesn't have to be just about food and beverage cartons as much as we would love that. But you can see here for Mecklenburg County, they have some of the different categories there, as well as some of the other ones. The one here in the middle, you see it's very cluttered, so that may not be the best example to do since it is hard to read. But like I said, just try to keep it simple, keep it easy, and have a little bit of fun with it. If we can go on to the next slide. Next one would be events. A lot of community residents love to go to the events and learn about what's happening. So this is a great way to demonstrate to the residents exactly on how they should be recycling certain items, especially when it comes to food and beverage cartons. This is also a great way to also potentially give them a tour of the facility, so that way they know exactly how some of these items are recycled. And when you go and submit, if you do have an event and you go to submit it for qualification, please do be sure to submit photos and videos of it, as well as any descriptions that you have of the event. I think that is it from my section. I think it's you next, Sarah, when it comes to advertising and public service announcements.
Sure. So I'm sure we all have seen the Only You Can Prevent Wildfires and the Give a Hoot, Don't Pollute PSAs that have been around for many, many years. So these are just a couple examples of advertisements that you can do. And so it can be paid advertisements, or if you're able to secure donated or discounted ad space, that's wonderful as well. And you can see here, the last image here is just an example of a PSA that was done many years ago in Miami-Dade County. This one, of course, features cartons prominently. That does not have to, cartons do not have to be the main component of the advertisements, of course, but we do want them to include cartons. And so this could be a print advertisement, a little banner ad on a website, a radio PSA, or TV, or even on social media. All right, and then so the next one would be earned media, so generating news. And this can be within radio, TV, print, basically any way that you're speaking to the media and kind of getting news out there about your program and what's happening. If you host an event or you're hosting a tour, that's a great way to get out there. Interviews with your local TV or radio station. You can see an example last year of the podcast that Heather was mentioning. They had done a podcast and then also got in their local paper about it as well. All right, and then everyone's favorite or non-favorite, social media. You get creative with these. You'll see a lot of graphics that go around, but we've seen a lot of success with people trying to be a little clever and funny and kind of engage people into their post. But then we, recommend a lot of the times having a link to your blog or your website or something else that, has some more information if you just, kind of have a graphic to entice them in. So here's an example of social media platforms. If there's others out there, we're open to that as well. But these are kind of some of the main ones that you might be using and posting on.
Okay.
Okay.
So thank you, Sarah and Anthony. Just to reiterate, so all of those activities are designed to be like resident communications about your recycling program. We are not expecting it to be centered around cartons, but the requirement is just, you do at least 2 communications activities and cartons are included. So are there any questions about, about any of this or this part of the requirement that anyone has? The other thing that we have not done in the past, but we're doing this year is offering, oh, all right. All right, Johanna, first of all, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
You did great, yes.
Yes. Okay, awesome. And what is your question?
For the event category, just to be clear, do we have to have video and photo?
I'm glad you asked. So no, what we need is really just whatever you have that can help give an idea and sort of validate that it happened. Validate that it happened and also give an idea of what happened. So I'm trying to think. I think that what some people have done is, taken a picture or two and then just did a little paragraph. I think increasingly with phones, video is easier because we have phones, but that might not, we're certainly not expecting you to take a video of like if someone gave a 20-minute speech and send that to us necessarily. But yeah, I think that's just whatever it takes to describe, but we're not going to check off all of those things.
Okay.
Or it could be like the event, like if you're using Eventbrite or something like that to like market the event, that would work as well. Pictures and videos are just kind of one example of an easy way to show us.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's actually, I'm glad you said that because it could even be just like what Sarah said, a couple of things that you did to promote the event and then a little blurb to describe the event, and that would
Right.
suffice as well.
Great, thank you.
And the other thing is, so to get the $2,000 grant, what everyone has to do is the website, adding food and beverage cartons to your website or putting them in a accurate way. And then the second part is at least 2 of these. Now, for the first time, the Carton Council is also possibly giving an additional or up to an additional like $3,000 for if there's a community that kind of goes above and beyond. And there's not a firm criteria about this. It's really, if someone, I guess if you submitted a lot more than 2, and I would say it's kind of quality and quantity. So if you submitted or if you submitted way more than 2, that could be put you up, make you eligible. Or if some were just like out of like, oh my gosh, this is phenomenal creativity, I can't believe what you did, that could also be. So just, kind of keep that in mind. What we've heard in the past is people like this grant because it is easy, but it's also a grant where you're not usually competing against each other and you have an opportunity to like learn and share. And we wanted to continue to foster that with also, this is, I feel like just, we don't even really see it as friendly competition, but just more so, just another like encouragement piece. So. All right. So just to reiterate, we will be getting the submission form along. We're always hesitant to send it too early because we don't want to give the idea that, it's not due till December 1st. And in this case, we're perfectly fine waiting until December 1st or the day before December 1st to get it. There's no rush because we want, and we also recognize like America Recycles Day in mid-November is usually a time where people are doing stuff too. So, but so we will get that out to you, but it will be designed to be simple. So don't feel like I don't have it. It's going to be the stressful thing. We'll also get a recording of this. And if you have any questions that come up in the meantime, does anyone want to share, like have an idea of what they are going to do or what they think they might do? Okay.
I see Johanna's hand is raised.
Hi.
I don't know if it's from before.
So I actually did raise it before you asked that question, but I can mention an idea as well. So my question was though, what is the start date for the activities that
Yeah, so that's an excellent question. So it's really 2023. So now officially we didn't even launch this until I think it really started in like late spring-ish. Um, but I think that I mean, if you did something again, as long as food and beverage cartons were included and it happened this calendar year, we're fine with that.
Okay, great. And just one thing that came to mind as you were talking is we do have a Magic of Recycling program scheduled for America Recycles Day at one of the elementary schools. And I'm thinking that we can speak to the presenter to make sure that he stresses cartons when he teaches those children. That will definitely help them at home to remind their parents. And maybe we can get a video or something of that. We'll try.
That's awesome. And then you could also like post a picture or make a reference to it on social media. So there's kind of, you're getting a few things out of it.
But more bang for the buck. Excellent.
Yeah.
And yeah, the two activities can be like complementary of each other. It doesn't have to be that like you hosted an event and then you also they can be complementary of each other.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
My only cautionary tale, I guess, is in your activities, make sure that when you do mention cartons, I mean, this might sound like duh, but make sure to look at materials and be accurate, because we did one time have someone and they used the term like waxy cartons and we're like, oh no, because that was, one of our like 101, there are no wax on cartons. So, we had to say, I'm sorry, this doesn't, this can't count. It's like more misinformation, which
Right.
the whole point is to spread accurate information. So, so again, if you even have any questions or doubts, we're always, you can shoot us an email. We're happy to look at something, but really that's it.
And Heather, if you don't mind me adding, I forgot to talk about this when I was talking about events. You don't have to put on your own event. You can join a community event. Look at some nonprofits that are in the community, or maybe your Chamber of Commerce. See if they have a community event going on or some sort of volunteer program, and you can partner that way with them.
Yeah, that I'm glad.
Great point.
That's a great. Like we were doing something totally unrelated with Emmett County in Michigan, and they had like a farmers market that they'll go to occasionally and set up a little, on a Saturday, and they'll set up a little thing where people can learn about the recycling program. I mean, any of that stuff definitely counts. And as long as, assuming you would have some sort of material there that talks to people about what can be recycled, then you're covered, and cartons are included in that, then you're totally covered. So cool. All right. Well, sounds good. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time. And once again, let us know if you have, any questions or think of anything. And we will be back in touch. All
Have
right.
a great day, everyone.
Take care.
Thank you.